It's a privilege to open this debate on the contribution of the specialist manufacturing sector to regional economies. The number of colleagues who've joined us this early on a Wednesday morning is a mark of just how important this is to so many constituencies. Manufacturing is the backbone of our economy. This country is unique. We don't mass-produce rubbish. We make specialist things that only our foundries and factories can produce. Decent manufacturing brings good jobs, but also economic power to our country. Manufacturing contributed £217 billion in output to the economy last year, nearly 10% of GDP, and supported 2.6 million jobs. Calder Valley has manufacturing in its history. The story started in wool but has developed into chemicals and specialist manufacturing. As new businesses opened in old mills, we also focused on particular industries. Calder Valley has long been known for its engineering. We are home to what many call Valve Valley, a cluster of over 20 firms that design, build and manufacture and service valves that are used across the world. In the valve community, which I mainly discovered after becoming an MP, Brighouse and Elland are real central hubs. These aren't household names, these companies, but they're businesses that keep industry moving. From energy to water to pharmaceuticals, they employ local people, they train apprenticeships and they anchor our economy in towns that too often feel overlooked. When I visit manufacturing and engineering firms in Calder Valley, I see the same thing again and again. Highly skilled workers who are proud of the worldwide reach of their products. From 60% of water in New York City travelling through valves made in Brighouse to oil rigs in the North Sea made safer because of the expertise of workers in a West Yorkshire factory. I see innovation with companies investing in new technology, tapping into various sectors such as defence, renewables and nuclear. And I see resilience because these businesses have survived downturns, global shocks, and yet they continue to provide good jobs in Calder Valley. But we can't ignore the fact that the numbers working in manufacturing is falling. As of 2024, 15% of jobs in Calder Valley are in the manufacturing sector, compared to a 7% national average. But that share has been declining. In 2007, just under a quarter of jobs in Calder Valley were in manufacturing. From the financial crisis to Brexit and the Tories' disastrous deal, the last couple of decades have ripped the heart out of our manufacturing industry. And we're going to hear a lot in the next few weeks about growth and so forth, and it will come as a relief to many of you that I'm not in the Treasury. But rather than talk about statistics, what I can share with you is what local manufacturers tell me. They tell me that their order book has never been so bad because of the impacts of tariffs and the lack of stability that means. Companies aren't making long-term decisions that would see them step up. And that's why we need a strong domestic manufacturing sector. But it's also why we need to be strategic in the support for industries and how we spend our own money on the infrastructure that we need to rebuild. If we're serious about Labour's promise that 2/3 of young people will go to university or achieve a higher level qualification, then it's exactly this kind of work we need to encourage. We need to make sure that those qualifications are linked to opportunities in advanced manufacturing, engineering and design. And that means working with local authorities and businesses to understand the needs for industry in each region. Of course I will.
I thank the honourable member for giving way and congratulate him on securing the debate. Would he agree with me on the issue that he's talking about now in terms of training and skills and upskilling, that we need to do more to develop the skills and the competitiveness of our manufacturing base, and that needs to be spread out beyond the large cities so that smaller towns and the residents in those small towns can benefit as a result?
I think you're absolutely correct, and the point you make about smaller towns is so important because actually, as well as creating brilliant jobs and jobs in a small economy where it will make a difference, it also gives a sense of place and value in what we produce, and people are proud that their town produces, be it valves or be it textiles, and they think about that as defining their town, and that's something that only a small town can offer, that commitment that really makes a difference. Now, businesses in this country are ready to grow, but they need support with the skills and infrastructure and investment. They need to know that their order book is guaranteed for the long term. The government has made really positive noises about encouraging skilled apprenticeships, and that really is welcome. But apprenticeships only work if the companies can afford to hire and train young people. We need to ensure that small and medium-sized manufacturers, who are the lifeblood of Calder Valley and other small towns, have the support they need to take on apprenticeships without being too financially stretched. In September, I visited the Brighouse-based training charity West Yorkshire Manufacturing Services as part of National Manufacturing Day. It showcased a range of firms that we have in Calder Valley to school students. There I met Stuart Billingham, who's set to become the Managing Director of KOSO Kent Introl next year. The company, founded in Brighouse, employs around 150 people and exports specialist valves across the world. Stuart started on a youth training scheme as a trainee at 16, and he's worked his way up the company to become its managing director. His journey is a brilliant example of how a career built on skills and apprenticeships can be as rewarding, lucrative, challenging, and have the massive global impact that we're often told universities can. It shows careers with progression, responsibility, and I want this government to produce 1,000 Stuarts, albeit some of his close friends might not want that many Stuarts. There is so much interest from the young people at this event, and so much curiosity about the opportunities that a career in manufacturing could bring. That spark of curiosity must be nurtured into a flame of ambition, especially at a time when too many young people feel pressured into pursuing degrees that may not suit them or lead to secure employment. Manufacturing could... Of course I will.
I thank my friend and praise him for bringing this really important debate to the House. Regarding apprenticeships, I wonder if he'd care to comment on the excellent work being carried out by the Catapult Centres that are government-funded, which work collectively between business and academia. And in my constituency of Rugby, at Anstey Park, we have the Manufacturing Technology Centre, which has its own training facility, and they have already trained 1,200 apprentices, and this can only be a good thing for our region, and particularly for our young people who, as you say, want to get on and get the jobs.
I think, 1,200 apprenticeships, that's 1,200 decent jobs. That's 1,200 families who have pride that their son or daughter is going to make a real difference, to make products that make it around the world. And that's why this matters. But only 14% of the apprenticeships started in the last academic year were in engineering and manufacturing. And the Institute of Engineering and Technology reported that engineering faces one of the largest skills shortfalls in the economy, with over 46,000 vacancies in the sector. Similarly, the welding industry needs another 35,000 more people. This is the key to growth. This represents a real opportunity for supporting young people into secure, well-paid work. But without it, our manufacturing sector will be in trouble. Of course.
I'm grateful to the Honourable Gentleman give away, and I do agree with everything he's saying. But can I just encourage him to go one step upstream and look at some of the wider policy context here? Because if we are going to regrow a manufacturing base, which we absolutely need, then we have to accept that it will be for future technologies. It's not just replacing what we have in the past. In my constituency, we have the development of tidal energy. That is something that offers a supply chain of 80% UK product, which would then, of course, be something that would be exportable. If we were able to capture that, yes, then we would be into something particularly special. But for that, we need a better policy framework to be coming from DESNES.
I think we have to be really bold and look at our future-focused industries, but also look at what we specialise in as well. So you talk about tidal energy, you're not going to be able to do that without a load of specialist valves. And I want to make sure that those valves are built in Calder Valley and they go throughout the country. And actually that's what this is. This is about, we need to plan, we need to think, but we also need to look at what we do well. And I want to talk a bit about the imbalance between small and large companies in manufacturing. It's often accentuated because larger companies often secure the government contracts, particularly in defence, which not only provides them with guaranteed revenue, but it's also often allowed them to poach skilled staff from smaller firms who can't compete, both with the salaries and the security that the contracts bring. Yorkshire and the Humber receive the least amount of defence spending per person, despite the fact that across our region we have a manufacturing sector that's eager to grow and develop. Of course.
I thank
him. He's making an excellent speech. As he'll know, the South West has a brilliant and large defence-related manufacturing sector. Needles and Pins Aerospace is a small women-led business in my constituency based in Somerton, providing provision, textile engineering for aviation and defence. So they should be entitled to the same opportunities on a level playing field with some of the larger contracts. So does the honourable member agree with me that the government should place value and security as a priority and offer equal commercial opportunities for UK businesses and supply chains in respect to defence and security related manufacturing contracts?
I absolutely do agree. In the Office for Defence Small Business Growth, which is being I believe kind of opened in January, and I'll just check with the Minister because he'll know that better than me, will be a great opportunity for businesses like Needles and Pins in your constituency and like the many that want to get into the defence industry in my constituency to help them really grow. And you are right that the South East where you are does do very well out of defence. In fact, 85,000 direct jobs are supported by the defence industry in the south of England, but just 3,750 in the Yorkshire and the Humber. As part of the government's mission to make defence an engine for growth, there should be a real concerted effort to make the benefits of defence spread both across the regions but also across our small towns, as the gentleman mentioned earlier. We will only grow this economy if the government interacts with industry, including in Calder Valley and West Yorkshire, in a way that encourages competition rather than dominance. Smaller manufacturers are equally vital and a sign of a balanced and resilient economy. And they must be supported if we are serious about building the balanced and resilient industrial base that we really need. Valve manufacturing is a reminder that regional economies thrive when we back specialist sectors. It's not about chasing the latest fad, but about recognising the strengths we already have and building on them. In Calder Valley, that means supporting our manufacturers with the skills pipeline, the apprenticeships and the investment they need to grow. We can use the power of the public purse to do this. I'm also going to be honest, this is something that we've failed over multiple years and multiple governments to do. The new nuclear power station at Hinkley Point has over 100,000 valves in it. They're all made in China. The only company in Calder Valley that has benefited from that is the company that fixes faulty valves, because they're not as good quality as a British-made valve. If we're expecting other countries to use our high-quality valves in manufacturing, then our government must lead by example. This is about the pride people feel when they know that something that they made in their town is used in projects around the world. It's about contributing to that specialist manufacturing, the contribution that specialist manufacturing makes to identity as well as to GDP. It's about ensuring that places like Calder Valley are not left behind, but are recognised as central to Britain's industrial future. So before I close, I want to make a few points directly to the Minister. In Calder Valley, we know how vital apprenticeships are, yet only 14% last year were in engineering and manufacturing. What's the government going to do to make sure that new training opportunities are actually match the skill shortages we face, like welding and advanced engineering? Our small and medium-sized manufacturers are the lifeblood of towns like Brighouse. How will the government support for apprenticeships and investment reach those firms rather than being skewed towards the largest players? And finally, the defence and strategic procurement could be a real engine for growth for places like Calder Valley. Can the Minister set out how contracts will be used to back British industry, and in particular specialist sectors such as valve manufacturing and precision engineering? Thank you all very much.